Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. We all wonder which dasha of ours is the best dasha to give us results, and we are always waiting for that dasha, especially if we think that a planet is the Lagna Lord or a strong Yoga Karaka or a good benefic for our horoscope. Then we wait for its dasha to come, and we may also wait for a dasha to change if we feel that the current dasha is not serving us and giving us challenges, and we hope and pray that the next dasha should be a good one. And if the next dasha is probably the dasha of the Lagna Lord or a natural benefic like a moon or a Jupiter or a Mercury or a Venus, then too we feel that the dasha has the promise of giving us good results, and we wait for it to come upon us. But what is the reason why a certain dasha may give us very good results and another dasha of another planet may not give us good results? And are there any rules by nature of which or by virtue of which a planet behaves in its dasha? So if there are some rules to which dasha can be a good or bad one, then won't it be helpful for us so that we can be better prepared? Now firstly, the dasha being a good one or a bad one is from our perspective, meaning we look at a dasha as a good dasha if we have hardly any problems during that dasha, we have good increments in our earnings, we get good high rise in our savings and the role in our careers, in our jobs, a promotion. The more promotion, the better. If you are in business, if our business grows many folds, then also we think that the dasha is a good one. Plus, if you don't have any relationship challenges, if you have no issues with the near and dear ones, we don't have any ill health or major illnesses, and if we are able to invite or attract great name, fame, reputation, then obviously that dasha is a good dasha for us. So that is a very materialistic and a very worldly perspective at how a dasha should manifest for us to term it as a good dasha. But that's not how the supreme energy, the deities, look at a dasha. The dasha which is upon us always has a purpose in relation to what the dasha lord sign is and what houses it rules and what the placement are and under what conjunction aspect doshas it is placed in. So bearing all this in mind, the dasha also brings in a purpose, and the purpose is a spiritual purpose. The purpose of any dasha is of two folds, which is also related to the dasha, which is also related to the purpose of our lives. The purpose of any dasha is directly related to the purpose of a life, which is to serve him and to serve him. Only thing is, the way you serve him during the dasha will be slightly different. So what does that mean? To serve him, the first serving him is in terms of serving humanity, people around us. And the worldly perspective, Mahadasha, if it brings good results for us, great name, fame, then we tend to forget that purpose. We tend to forget that serving others is the main purpose of life. And because we forget that the main purpose of life or the first purpose of life is to serve others, serve humanity, then if we are too much surrounded by materialistic abundance, prosperity, then we tend to get so busy in the good life that we tend to forget those people who are not as lucky as us, and we forget the first purpose of life is to serve others, and to serve others is to serve him. And so that purpose of life is to a large extent curtailed if the dasha is a good one from a worldly perspective. The second serving him is about praising him, the supreme energy, praying to him and trying to elevate ourselves spiritually to get close to him. That is the other purpose of our lives. And generally only when we go through troubled times do we remember the Supreme Lord, the deities more, and we pray to him more. And that's the reason why the perspective of the Supreme Lord, the energies of which dasha is a good dasha, is very different from the way we see it. The reason a dasha is sometimes not as good as we think it is from a worldly perspective is because the purpose of the dasha is to elevate us spiritually, and it gives us different means, different mannerisms, different opportunities because of the nature of the planet to be able to elevate ourselves spiritually. But we miss that point. We look at how much money we can earn in the dasha, how many promotions we can get, how much we can grow our business during that dasha, how much love and affection we get from others, and certain targets that we have kept for us, maybe to marry, to have children, to go on a world tour, or to achieve a certain market share for our company. We tend to look at the dashas that way, and that's the reason why many times we fall flat on our face where it comes to our karma is. And because we have not taken care of our karma in our earlier lives and we had chased materialism, and that's why we have landed in the spot that we are in today. Yet life after life, year after year, day after day, hour after hour, we continue to chase only materialism, knowing very well that unless we play out our karma, unless we improve our karma, we will not be able to spiritually elevate ourselves and then rise. So anyways, maybe the spiritual talk sometime later. From a worldly perspective, which dasha is a good dasha or a bad dasha, let's talk about that first. Let me give you some simple rules to know whether the dasha of a planet can be a good dasha or not for us. The simple rule is, of course there will be combinations, permutations to that, but the simple rule, 90% of the time the planet will stick to. The first rule and the most simple rule is, during the dasha of a planet which is a natural benefic and a functional benefic too, it should not only be a natural benefic but it should also be a functional benefic. Otherwise a natural benefic can be a benefic, can be a malefic functionally for some ascendants. For example, Mercury and Venus are natural benefics apart from Moon and Jupiter. However, for a Cancer ascendant, Mercury and Venus are not natural benefics. They may be natural benefics, but they are functional malefics. So the results that they give during their dasha for a Cancer ascendant native, for example, will be different from how they give results to, for example, to a Libra ascendant native or to a Taurus ascendant native. So keep this in mind. So during the dasha of a natural benefic, which is also a functional benefic for a native, and they are also the lords of the Kendra or the trine houses, then they generally tend to give good to very good results to a native, provided they don't rule a dusthana like a 6, 8 or 12. If they do, then yet they will tend to give you 60 to 65% good results if they rule a Kendra or a trine, and if the other house they rule is a dusthana, then about 35 to 40% they will give you not so fortunate results from a worldly perspective. Now, one thing to remember is, now that we are talking about which house a planet rules, especially a benefic, the nature of the house will manifest its results. So if a planet rules the 6th house and say the 3rd house, like Aries ascendant native will have, Aries ascendant native will have Mercury ruling both the 3rd house and the 6th house as well. So if a planet is ruling the 3rd and the 6th house, it will give you the results of both the 3rd house and the 6th house during its dasha. However, if a planet rules the 5th and the 6th house, which may happen if the 5th and the 6th house are ruled by Saturn, for example, and this is for a Virgo ascendant native. For a Virgo ascendant native, the 5th house and the 6th house are ruled by Saturn, as it rules Capricorn and it rules Aquarius. Then for a Virgo ascendant native, during the Saturn Dasha, the Dasha will throw up results both of the 5th house and the 6th house. So 5th house will, being a trine house, the gains will also come as well as opportunities, and 5th house being the 8th house to the 10th house, those kind of results, change in job, upheaval of job, move for the better will also come, opportunities of taking risks, investing, having children, falling in love, marrying, and all that will come. But the 6th house will also play its part, where competition, facing challenges at work, in its service, and health related things may also be thrown up. So this has to be kept in mind whenever the Dasha is being read into. So the houses will play their part. Whichever the house lord is, they will play a part. Then the nature of the planet whose Dasha it is will surely play its part. So if it is the Dasha of the Sun, then there will be opportunities, or there will be times where your arrogance or your self-respect or false self-respect or pride or false pride or stubbornness may also be thrown up into the mix every now and then. If it's the Dasha of Moon, then there will be emotional issues, emotional frustrations, anxieties, some pressures also which may come in from time to time because it is the Dasha of the Moon, which means that during the Dasha of the Moon you may tend to take a more emotional perspective of things or get more emotionally affected during the Dasha. So that may also happen. So one has to look into whether the planet is a functional benefic or not just a natural benefic, plus whether it rules the Kendras and the trine houses and not rules the Dusthana. However, if it does, it will give you the results of both the houses it rules, especially if it's a planet which is ruling 2 houses. The second rule is that the planet should be in good strength. If the planet is not in good strength, then it will not give you good results. As the shloka in the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra says, Nirbalo Naib Yogakrit, which means a planet, just by virtue of its placement or its relationship, will not give you good results unless it has good strength. Now, what does strength mean? By strength we mean the strength in degrees. If the planet is not strong in degrees, if it's 0 degrees, 1 or 2 degrees, or say 28, 29, 30 degrees, then it is taken as too very young or too old to give you strong results, because generally it is seen as it is on the cusp between houses and it may not be able to give you very good results. And so the planet has to be in good degrees. Generally the best degrees for a planet are between 10 degrees and 18 degrees is the best for a planet to be in that dignity. The other part of the strength is about the dignity of the planet, which also is given to it by its directional strength. Say for example, Mars has a lot of directional strength in the 10th house. So does Sun have a lot of directional strength in the 10th house. However, Mars loses a lot of its directional strength in the 4th house as well as in the 7th house. So that is the second thing you need to see, whether the planet is placed in the place where it loses a lot of its directional strength. Then obviously it may not be able to give you as strong results as it would give you if it's in good degrees and in a house where it gets good directional strength. The third is that the planet should not be either combusted or debilitated, because if the planet is combusted, then definitely during its dasha it will throw up challenges, as this shloka says. Swoche shubh phala purna trikone padarv jitam swakshari dala mitra gehe padmatra prakirtirtam padarth sambhe purotaka vyarth nichait shatruge दुष्ट फला ब्रुयाद व्यक्तियेन विचक्षण. I translate, a planet in exaltation will give auspicious effects in full. In its Mool Trikona, it will lose a quarter. In own sign, half will be lost. Just a quarter will remain in a friend sign. In the sign of a neutral, only half a quarter of the effects will materialize. In debilitation or in combustion or in inimical sign, the planet will be entirely futile. That is, benefic effects will be nil. So, a planet which is either combusted or debilitated will definitely give you challenges or less than expected results during its dasha or its antardasha. However, planet in a friendly sign will give you much better results, or its own sign and further in its Mool Trikona sign will give you very good results, whereas a planet in good degrees, in exaltation, in a house of its where it gets maximum directional strength will give you best results. For example, the Sun in Aries in the Lagna will give you great results because Sun in Aries in the Lagna is exalted and has directional strength. So one has to look at what planet dignity is and what strength it is before we assume that the planet may give us good results during its dasha. This shloka from the Saravali says, with the combustion by the sun to lords of Lagna, Navamsa Lagna and the moon sign, the longevity is highly afflicted. So if the lord of the Lagna in the birth horoscope or the lord of the Navamsa Lagna or lord of the moon sign Lagna, for example, if moon is placed in a sign say Taurus, and if Venus which rules Taurus is combusted, then because of the combustion of the lord of the Lagna, the challenges will surface during the dasha of that respective planet. The Saravali says that the Jiva Sukha given by a planet is considerably reduced during when it is combusted during its dasha. So one has to look at the Jiva Sukhas that we look at from a materialistic perspective, which gives sukh to the life, which includes money, which includes name and fame, which includes being in a relationship or getting married or having children. So the worldly pleasures will be considerably reduced during the dasha of a combusted planet. Now the aspect of a benefic on a planet will to a large extent reduce the malefic tendencies of a planet, and hence during the dasha of a planet which is either the functional malefic or a natural malefic, but not a yoga karaka for the native, may turn up challenging results. However, if the aspect of a benefic or two benefics are on that planet, then the negative effects or the challenging effects will be less and better results will be more, because the dasha is on and the aspect of benefics in the natal chart are present. Then those planets also get activated and they also tend to give you good results. So the second rule is that the planet should be not in poor dignity, in combustion or debilitation or in a bad aspect, but if it is, then a benefic aspect on the planet will surely improve its results during its dasha and during its antardasha. Then the other rule is that the planet should not be in a bad dosha. The bad doshas like the Vish dosha or the Sharpit dosha will definitely bring upon challenges, because the doshas also get activated during the dasha of the planet, which is a part of that dosha or the yoga. So during the dasha of a planet which is in a bad dosha, the challenges will come to bear, and will come to bear of the houses that the planet owns and where it is placed in. So the results of those houses which it rules and where the planet is placed, surely some challenges will come up if the planet is in a bad dosha, even if it is the Lagna Lord or the Yoga Karaka, or if it's the functional benefic also, yet challenges will be seen. However, good results will also be seen if it's the Lagna Lord, if it's a Yoga Karaka planet, it is a functional benefic. For example, for a Libra ascendant native, for a Taurus ascendant native, Saturn is a strong functional benefic planet. So obviously during the Dasha of Saturn, better results will come by for a Libra ascendant native rather than that of say for example the Moon's Dasha. So even though Saturn is a malefic, but by virtue of being a Yoga Karaka for Taurus and Libra ascendant natives, and of course for Capricorn as well and Aquarius also, it will tend to give you better results than when it is a functional malefic, apart from being a natural malefic, say for example for an Aries ascendant native. So one will have to look at what is the nature of the planet and its relationship with the Lagna Lord. Basis its relationship with the Lagna Lord, whether it is a friendly planet or a not friendly planet or an inimical planet, that planet will definitely throw up challenges during its Dasha. But again, the Dasha results will come by virtue of what houses it rules and the house that it is placed in, and if it's placed in a yoga or in a dosha. Then the Dasha of a planet will be much and much better if it's a benefic, or it's a Lagna Lord, or if it's a Yoga Karaka, plus it has a benefic conjunction or benefics aspected, as well as if it's in a good yoga, then you can get good to fantastic results in the yoga. Now some dashas will also bear results, or let me put it this way, dashas will also give you results basis not just the nature of the planet. For example, by virtue of the nature of the planet, as we mentioned, during the Mars Dasha, the Dasha is a chance for you, an opportunity for you to put your step forward, to put the feet on the accelerator, to go for it, to be more assertive and even more aggressive for your goals and what you are moving towards, and use a lot of energy to get results. If on top of it, if Mars also rules the third house, then you have the double opportunity for you to go and manifest things. The third house, for example, is a good opportunity for you to start something of your own, to show self-enterprise. And so if the third lord is placed in good dignity, is also a functional benefic for you, and has good strength, and is in a yoga, then it's a good opportunity for you to try to do something on your own, or if there is something which you have been stopping from taking an action upon, then wholeheartedly taking that action, whether it is starting your own business, starting your own consulting work, going on your own, or starting some new initiative which may not be related to career, but maybe to arts, artistic expression, start a YouTube channel, start a website, or pursue something which is a hobby and which can make you some other residual income also on the side. So third house dasha also will give you that opportunity. One needs to be a little careful when it is the dasha of the 8th house, for example, or the 12th house. For the 8th house lord, the challenges of suddenness will also be there. Sudden upheavals, sudden issues which may come upon, which may immediately force you to direct all your energies there, those may also come up. Even if it is the lord also rules some other house. For example, Saturn rules the 8th house and the 9th house for Gemini ascendant native. So here, while it rules the 9th house, which is a trine house and an auspicious house, the 8th house, by virtue of Saturn ruling it and the dasha of Saturn being on, then there will be both the opportunity of auspiciousness, long-term, long travel or long distance travel, and doors of fate and luck opening for you, but also some upheavals, some sudden unfortunate events, or those events which require immediate attention may also raise their head. During the dasha of the 12th house, for example, you may also face higher expenses, or a lot of your efforts will go to waste. So excessive expenses and a lot of your effort going to waste is what the 12th house may throw up results as, especially if the 12th house is a functional malefic for you, not placed in good dignity, is combusted or debilitated in a bad dosha, the Lord is aspected by a lot of malefics. So the more and more negatives get attached to the 12th Lord or the 12th house, then during the 12th Lord's dasha, obviously there will be more challenges in terms of expenses and your efforts not bearing fruit for you. However, if there are more benefics which get associated with the 12th house or aspecting or in conjunction with the 12th Lord, then those challenges will be reduced. However, some part of the dasha will definitely throw up these issues of you not being able to keep a tab on your expenses and some of your efforts not being able to give you the fruits of your labor. The dasha of the 11th house many times surprises a lot of people because it brings with it both an opportunity but at the same time a growth over time. So the more effort that you put in during the dasha of the 11th house, as further and further you go into the dasha, it slowly grows, and that is also the same thing with the 3rd house, 6th house and the 10th house, because these are the upachaya houses. So if it's the dasha of a functional benefic for you and it rules the 3rd house or the 6th or the 10th or the 11th, then you will see that as you put more and more effort during the dasha, slowly as you go deeper and deeper into the dasha, you get better and better results during the dasha of the 3rd, 6th, 10th and 11th house, but mostly about the 11th house. You will get better network of people, you will be able to use them. Socially, you will be more in contact with people who are more relevant and who have the capability to also bring good fortune to you. So make the use of the dasha of the 11th Lord if it's up. Then also look into the nakshatra Lord, which is the nakshatra Lord and what kind of the result or the combination or the relationship it is forming with the Lord of the dasha. So if the Lord of the dasha is in a certain nakshatra, placed in the nakshatra, then the nakshatra Lord will also manifest its results. So if moon is placed in say the Mula nakshatra, which is ruled by Ketu, and so the relationship between moon and Ketu will play out during the dasha also. So Mula is the nakshatra of rising from the phoenix. So the moon, if it's placed in the Mula nakshatra and it's the moon dasha, then you will get an opportunity of rising from the ashes as a phoenix, especially if you have been in troubled waters. So each nakshatra will play its part. If the dasha of a planet which is in the Bharani nakshatra, for example, is on, then good opportunity to earn money, good opportunity to increase your savings, good opportunity to also have more romantic liaisons and also indulge in more intimacy, attract the attention of the opposite sex. So the dashas will give you a combination of effects basis their placements, their dignity, what houses they rule, their strength in terms of whether they have the directional strength or not, what aspects, what conjunctions they are in, what is the nakshatra they are in, what is the relationship with the nakshatra Lord, and what antardasha is also on. So all these will come together to give the result of a dasha. So careful analysis and a deeper dive is needed for you to look into your current dasha and how to manifest it best, especially keeping in mind what antardasha is also on. So the dasha, the results will also come by virtue of what the dasha Lord is and the antardasha Lord is and their relationship and what houses they rule. So friend, now that we have discussed how the dasha results play out and how the antardasha results also play out, please look into your own horoscopes and see what dasha and antardasha you are going through, what houses the planets rule, what their strengths are, what their dignity is, what conjunction they are, what doshas they are in, what good or bad aspects they are part of, what nakshatras they are in, and looking at all of these, then figure for yourself what can be the results of that dasha for you, and prepare for the dasha. The best preparation for the dasha is to understand the nature of the houses that the Lord plays, the nature of the planet itself, and if it's going through, if it's in a bad conjunction or in a good or bad dosha or yoga, then keeping these in mind, prepare yourself accordingly. If the dasha is a good dasha, then go for it. Put in your energy, put in more fruits of your labor, and try and milk the dasha more. If the dasha is of a functional malefic, it is not well placed, it is combusted or debilitated with more negative aspects or a bad dosha involved, then be more careful. Continue to do your efforts, and don't be afraid if you are facing setbacks. These setbacks are generally temporary. They are letting go of a lot of toxic energy which you may have accumulated because of bad karma, either the bad prarabdha karma or the current karma that you are doing. So some challenges that will come to you during the bad dasha are also letting go of the karmic debt you have accumulated and the toxic karma that you are carrying. So don't worry about it. Keep putting in your hard work. Keep the patience. Keep the faith in the Lord, and as you keep doing a good karma, you keep serving Him and Him, you will find that the dasha will slowly ease off, and slowly the pain and the frustration and the anxieties of the dasha will lower. Especially if you take a more spiritual perspective of the dasha and not just the materialistic one. So friends, please like this video, please share this video, and if you are looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Until we meet some other time with some other video, this is your friend, astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.